Last weekend, I cooked for 50 people. Not because I wanted to. Because my family expected me to. 3 days of prep. No sleep. Constant pressure. And by Saturday afternoon, I was so exhausted. I could barely stand. When I finally asked my mom for help, she didn't just refuse. She laughed. Then in front of a room full of guests, she said, "You're the only one without a real job, you have time." That should have been the breaking point. But it wasn't. Because what she didn't know was that I had just secured a contract worth more than my sister earns in a year. And what none of them knew was that the CEO who hired me was standing in that room, listening to everything. But to understand how it got that far, we need to go back 2 weeks earlier. It started with a text. Not a request. Not even a question. "Your sister's birthday is coming up. You'll handle everything. 50 guests." I stared at my phone, sitting in my apartment, surrounded by design drafts I'd been working on for days. I had a major presentation coming up, one that could change my entire career. So I replied carefully, "Mom, I'm in the middle of something important." Her answer came instantly. "You work from home. You have flexibility." That word. Flexibility. In my family, that meant one thing. Your work doesn't matter as much as hers. And this wasn't new. Every holiday, every event, I was the one working behind the scenes while my sister got the spotlight. And every time I tried to speak up, I was reminded that I had time. So this time, I said yes again. Because I always did. But something about this time felt different. Like I was getting closer to a line I couldn't cross anymore. White right pointing backhand index, and what happened during that party is exactly what pushed me over it. The grocery list came at midnight. 3 pages long. Multiple stores. Complex dishes. Specific requests. Elegant but approachable. I didn't sleep much that week. Mornings were for shopping. Nights were for cooking. And in between, I was preparing for the biggest presentation of my life. Then came Thursday. I was on a video call presenting my work when the CEO joined. Christopher Hayes. He studied my design, then said something I hadn't heard in a long time. "This is exceptional." For a moment, I felt seen. He even suggested meeting in person to finalize the contract. But I hesitated. Because Saturday, I had to host the party. And then he said something that made my stomach drop. "I'll actually be in your city this weekend, visiting a friend. Robert Clark." My father. Small world, right? Saturday arrived fast. I started working at 6 a.m. By noon, I'd already cooked half the menu, cleaned the house, and made 2 emergency grocery runs. Meanwhile, my sister was upstairs, getting ready. My mom was helping her. And I was alone, doing everything. By the time guests arrived, I hadn't even showered. I moved through the house like a ghost, serving drinks, clearing plates, running back to the kitchen before anyone noticed I existed. Until someone finally asked me, "Did Madison hire a caterer?" I smiled. "No, I made everything." And right before I could explain what I actually do, my mom cut in. "She does little freelance projects from home." Just like that, I disappeared again. And then, I turned around, and came face to face with Christopher Hayes, the CEO, standing in my kitchen, watching me serve appetizers. White right pointing backhand index, and in that moment, I realized everything was about to collide. He recognized me instantly. "Cora, right? You're in design." I nodded, trying to stay calm, even though I was standing there in a stained apron while the man offering me a 6-figure deal watched me serve food. Before I could explain anything, "Cora, we need more wine." My mom's voice cut through the moment. And just like that, I was pulled back into the role they always gave me. Invisible. Replaceable. Useful. I escaped to the kitchen, hands shaking. Because everything felt wrong. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. I was supposed to meet him professionally, confident, prepared. Not like this. Not like someone they could dismiss. From the doorway, I watched my family. My sister laughing with her colleagues. My dad proudly talking about her achievements. Nobody mentioned me. Nobody ever did. And that's when something hit me. I had two choices. Keep waiting for them to see me. Or finally see myself. Right then, the tension exploded. My sister rushed into the kitchen. Where's the main course? I told her it needed time. She didn't care. Just fix it. Then my mom came in. I told her I needed help. She smiled and said, Madison works harder than you. You have time. That sentence, that exact sentence, did something inside me. Because for the first time, I didn't feel hurt. I felt done. And what happened next is the moment everything fell apart in front of everyone. I was standing in the kitchen, exhausted, overwhelmed, invisible. And then I heard my mom, laughing in the living room, telling guests, she'll grow out of this art phase. Not a real job. People laughed. And I stood there, holding a knife, realizing something painful. They didn't just underestimate me. They had already decided who I was. And nothing I did would change that. Then my phone buzzed. An email. Contract confirmed. $240,000. I stared at the number. That's when my sister walked in, demanding the food again. And for the first time, I told her the truth. Her entire expression changed. Shock. Confusion. Why didn't you tell us? I looked at her and said, you never asked. Silence. But even after that, she still said, you'll serve the food, right? That's when I understood. It didn't matter what I achieved. To them, I was still the same. So I walked into that living room. 50 people watching. And I said the words I had never said before. I'm done. No yelling. No drama. Just truth. I took off my apron, set it down, and walked toward the door. My mom shouted, if you leave, don't come back. I stopped, turned, and said, okay. And what happened after I walked out shocked everyone in that room. I didn't look back. Not once. I got in my car, sent one email confirming my contract, and drove away. For the first time in my life. I chose myself. That night, everything fell apart behind me. Dessert ruined. Guests leaving early. Conversations turning awkward. But the real moment came after. When the CEO, who had seen everything, spoke to my parents. He told them exactly who I was. Not their version. The real one. A top-level designer. A six-figure contract. A leadership position. And then he said something they couldn't ignore. She tried to tell you. You just never asked. Silence. For the first time. They saw me. But it came too late. Because something had already changed. Not them. Me. Days later, the calls came. Apologies. Regret. Realizations. But I didn't rush back. Because I finally understood something. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's something you require. And boundaries. They're not selfish. They're necessary. So I took space. Built my career. And slowly, rebuilt the relationship on my terms. Not as the flexible daughter. Not as the one with time. But as someone who finally knew her worth. Now tell me honestly, if you were in my place, would you have walked out or stayed quiet?